This is Tiger from 106 Keep It a Bean. How's my 106 Keep It a Bean family doing out there, man? You know I love chopping it up with you guys. You know I love spending time with you. You know what we do here at 106 Keep It a Bean. Yes, we keep it funky, and you guys know we keep it fresh, man. I'm excited to be here to do this episode with you guys. Remember, I always say this is therapeutic for me. I really, really mean that. If you just took a day to walk in my shoes, you would kind of understand why I need these therapy sessions. I need them. With all the mental health issues that are going on in the world and people suffering from mental health, I need these episodes. I need these therapy sessions between you and I. And I need them. And I equally thank you for not charging me for them. I have to apologize. I had everything set up at home to do it on my laptop and my camera and all of that. But for whatever reason, ever since the storm, my phone doesn't work that well in my apartment, and my Wi-Fi doesn't work that well. So when I had everything set up and I was doing the test runs, it just wasn't working. So I said, well, hey, I set this thing up. I still want to do it. So I just got my car, rode up the street a little bit, and I parked, and here I am. And so I apologize for that, but we're gonna keep it funky. We're gonna keep it fresh, man. Just walk with me a little bit, spend some time with me, and that's to see where this episode goes, man. First and foremost, my heart and prayers goes out to anybody that was directly affected by that storm the other day. I seen it firsthand. I was in McKees Rocks, and when I tell you, man, I looked up in the sky. One part of the sky was dark, and the other sky was light like it is right now. And when I got out my car, boom, all hell broke loose. I mean, the wind was so strong. I never seen rain. Rain wasn't coming straight down. Rain was going this way. I never seen that before. It was blowing past me that way. And, I mean, lines were coming down. Trees were falling in half. Transformers got hit right in front of me. A big tree fell on the road that I was traveling on. So I seen it. It was crazy, man. Mother Nature, once again, it was reminding us humans who's really in charge. So again, man, my hearts and prayers go out, especially to the 3 victims that lost their lives and their families. So my hearts and prayers go out with them. And if anybody still doesn't have lights, man, I feel you. Hopefully, prayfully they come on soon, and let's get back to some sense of normalcy. But one thing I will say this, and I read a post, and I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but somebody said that, when their lights went out, and they were in the dark, and they had their candles, and all this other stuff, instead of complaining, instead of pointing the finger or blaming somebody, you know what they said they did? They took time to pray, think about God, think about their situation, and it humbled them, they said. They really took out time to seriously sit down and chill and talk to God. That's deep, man. Because they could have pointed the finger, they could have did anything, man, but they took that time when they were in the dark and they put their candles on, and they said, hey, I'm going to take this time. I'm not going to waste this time. I'm going to talk to God. So kudos to them, man. But again, my heart and prayers go out to everyone directly affected by the storm. This episode is titled, is entitled, Everyone is Getting High Off of Something. Everyone is getting high off of something. And I want you to think about that for a minute. Excuse me. Everyone's getting high off of something. Think about that. I remember I said on another episode, I said that everybody that lives in this matrix, everyone that was born through the womb of a woman, everyone that lives in this world will be tested. Everybody. You can't pay your way out of it. You can't pray your way out of it. You can't circumvent it. Everybody in this world, if you live here on this planet, you will be tested. I need you to understand that. It's a spiritual principle that I believe when God created this matrix, he attached that to it, being tested, because you're going to be tested. And what I want us to do right now, I want you to think about the tests in your life is a good thing, nothing bad. It's a good thing, because how will you ever know something is good and good for you unless it gets tested? You meet somebody, they look good, they smell good, they sound good, everything, they do all the right things. Well, how will you ever know if that person is good for you unless the relationship gets tested? How will you ever know? Uh, so everything gets tested. So I need you to understand that, because I've also said on another episode, if I meet somebody and we start talking or dating, one of the things I say to them, are you willing to walk with me? Because I want to know, are you going to walk with me? Because if you're walking with me, that means wherever I'm at, you're standing right by my side. So that means if I'm in the midst of a storm or if I'm going through something, that means you're standing right there because you're walking with me, if that makes any sense. And so a lot of times you'll find out when the sun is out, everybody walks with you. But the moment a storm comes, the moment you're going through something or facing something, you'll look around and won't nobody be walking with you. But how would you ever know that unless you got tested? So that's how you'll know who's going to walk with you and who's not. So look at these tests as a good thing and not the bad, because you'll never know if something is good unless it gets tested. Our children need tested. And I say this being my parent myself, sometimes we have to let our kids go through some things. If that makes any sense. We have to. Because how will we ever know if they can handle it? How will we ever know who they are, how they're built, if we don't allow them to go through some things? Too many parents, in my opinion, stand in the way of their kids' tests because they're afraid or they don't want their kids to go through something. That's crazy to me. Let them go through it. I remember telling a friend of mine one time, I said, how long are you going to raise your kids? They're grown now. How long are you going to raise them? At some point, you got to let them fall, because that's the only way you know if they can make it or not. Because if you die the day of tomorrow, what your kids going to do? They're going to figure it out. So why not let them figure it out while you're here? If that makes any sense. So everybody gets tested, man. Nobody's exempt from this. And so, remember I said, everybody's getting high off of something. Let me say it this way. Everybody's getting high off of something. I don't know if you know this, but, there are some people getting high off their jobs. I don't mean they're getting high at their jobs. I'm talking about they're getting high off their jobs. There's some people getting high off their children, their grandchildren. There's some people getting high off of sex. You know what I mean? There's some people getting high off of money. There's some people even getting high off of church or religion. They're getting high off of church. So everybody's getting high off of something. I need you to get to that. I need you to understand the point I'm trying to drive home. Everybody's getting high off of something. I want to talk about a word that I believe is pivotal in what I'm trying to say. And that word is indoctrination. Indoctrination is simply the process of telling somebody something over, and over again until they begin to accept it without protest. If that makes any sense. The indoctrination is the process if you just keep telling somebody something, and telling them something, and telling them something, and then they begin to accept what you're telling them without protest. That is called indoctrination. And it happens all the time. That's just like if you're in a relationship with somebody and they keep telling you you're ugly, or they keep telling you you're broke, or they keep telling you you're nothing over and over and over and over again, what happens is eventually you begin to accept what they said to you without protest. And let me let you in on a little secret. Whatever you're being indoctrinated with does not have to be true. Doesn't have to be factual. Doesn't have to be righteous. You know, that plays no part in the process of indoctrination. So it doesn't have to be real or true. So I can indoctrinate you with a lie. I can't. And basically what I'm saying is I want us to understand, especially as black people in this country, we were indoctrinated with European traditions. We were indoctrinated with European beliefs. We were indoctrinated with European religion, their language, their customs. We were indoctrinated with that. In other words, they told us everything over and over and over and over again until we got to a point where we accepted it without protest. And remember, it doesn't have to be factual. It doesn't have to be real. It doesn't. You know, that's the whole part of indoctrination. It's telling somebody something over and over again until they accept it without protest. And so everybody's getting high off of something. You know, like I said, there's people getting high off of church. And what I mean is there's nothing worse than somebody that goes to church for 20, 30 years and they get high off of church, but when they come home and that high goes down, they're worse now than they was before they went, if that makes any sense. In other words, what I mean is it's very hard to find somebody who are the same in church and they're the same person when they come home to their family. It's hard to find that. I'm not saying there isn't anybody, but that's hard to find because there's so many people now who go to church to feel good, but they don't go to church to change, if that makes any sense. And so we have people who are running around getting high off of church because they just want to feel good. Remember, those feelings are temporary. You know, they don't go to church to change. They just go to church to feel good. And so everybody's getting high off of something. There are people getting high off their children. Yeah. You know, there's nothing worse than a parent that doesn't believe their child can do any wrong. I think that's crazy. I think there's nothing worse than a parent that always stands in the way of their child being tested. Because, you know, there are parents and grandparents that get so high off their children that they're blinded by anything that your child does. That's crazy to me. Because how does that child grow? How does he learn if you keep blocking the test? Because you're getting high off of them, and it's affecting your ability to raise them and to teach them, if that makes any sense. And so there are people out here getting high off their children. I'm telling you, man, there is. I'm not making this stuff up. You don't have to believe me. Just all you got to do is look on social media, man. Listen to people's comments, what they say about their children. They're getting high off of them. The same reason why people go to church to feel good is the same reason why parents get high off their children. You don't have to agree with what I'm saying. And let me say this, and I know I'm kind of getting off the topic a little bit. One of the reasons why I do this episode is because I want to get you to think. I want to get you to think. I want to get you to question that. You know, some people are getting high off themselves. You know what I'm saying? So, this thing is deep, man. And again, I said that's why I do these episodes, because I want you to think. I want you to question. I want you to say, man, what is this man talking about? What do you mean everybody's getting high off of something? What do you mean people are running to church to feel good but not to change? What do you mean that some people are getting high off their children, high off their jobs, you know, high off of sex, high off of money? You know, some people get high off of other people's pain. You know, there's some people who will sit around you just to hear you complain so they can run down the street and tell 4 or 5 other people about your pain or what you're going through. It happens all the time, bro, because they're getting high off of it, because it makes them feel good to tell your dirt. if that makes any sense. And so, man, I told you, man, this is a podcast of the people and for the people. And everybody has a voice and everybody has a right to be heard. And I really, really mean that. This is a platform for you guys to tell your story, to let your voice be heard. If you disagree with what I'm saying, hey, challenge me. Tell me I'm wrong. Show me I'm wrong. But that's what this platform is for. And that's why I keep telling people, tell your friends, tell your people on your job, tell your cousins, you're at the stores, hey, man, check this dude out on 106 Keep It a Being, man. This guy has a platform where you can get on there and talk about whatever you want to talk about. I don't care. I had a young lady one time, she was a mother of two beautiful young children, but then she's no longer attracted to men. Now she's attracted to women. I wanted to interview her because I wanted her to tell her story. Not that I agree with it, but I wanted her to tell her story. I wanted to hear it from her perspective, her voice. Tell us what happened. Because, see, if we begin to talk about these things, maybe we could begin to understand. Because I think one of the things that God, and I thank Miles Monroe for teaching me this, or bringing this to my understanding. God created us to be managers, to be good managers, meaning you have to understand your situation in order for you to manage it, if that makes sense. And you have to be a good manager of it. That means you got to be a good manager of your finances. It means you got to be a good manager of your relationship. That means you have to be a good manager with yourself. That means you have to be a good manager with your family. You have to be a good manager with your children. God created us to be a good manager, to be good managers. But it's up to us to tap into it and to plug into that and to manage things. But if we don't talk about things, if we don't expose things, how can we ever manage it? How can we ever deal with it? And so that's why I said this episode is called Everybody's Getting High for Something, because I want people to stop pointing at the people getting high for drugs thinking that it's just them. Everybody's getting high for something. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody's getting high for something. You just have to figure out what you're getting high off of and begin to understand it so you can manage it. I'm not here to tell you that it's right or wrong. It's not my purpose. It's not. It's not my purpose to tell you whether, if you just got on Facebook or wherever, you just told your family, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore, whatever it is. The moment you say that out of your mouth, you know what's going to happen? Test. Because you declare that you're not going to do something, you're going to get tested. There's going to be a series of tests to see what you declared out of your mouth, if that's really true or that's a bunch of bull. So tests are going to happen. Tests are going to come. Embrace them. Learn from them. Don't look at it as too many of us complain about things. I'll raise my hand, but, I'm a human being just like anybody else. I complain about things. But sometimes when you think back and reflect on what you're complaining about, a lot of time it was just a test. Because you probably make some declaration somewhere that you forgot. And now you're being tested to see if what you said is really true. It's one thing for somebody to say, I love you, but that has to be tested. Because I could tell you I love you all day and never show you, that means what? And if I never got tested, meaning if I never went through anything with you, how would you ever know that I love you? So, man, I do these episodes because, again, I said I want you to think. I do these episodes because I care. I do these episodes because, I love plugging in with you guys. I wish more people would tune in. I keep telling you, 106 Keep It a Bean cannot be successful without you guys. It can't. I've been doing this about a year now, maybe a little over a year. I love it. I'm excited about it. I'm learning. And I thank you, Slim. She has another live podcast coming up May 3rd, this Saturday, in fact. So go on her Facebook page, Slim Connection. That's Soul Connection. That's with 2 L's, Soul, LL Connection. Please come. I'll be there. I think it's an all-women panel. And, man, we get a chance to ask women questions, man. I'm excited about it, man. And so I'm learning from her. I'm learning, to get better and to do better with these episodes and with my podcast. Because one thing I noticed about social media is this. You don't necessarily have to be good, but you got to be consistent, if that makes any sense. Because there's a lot of people putting a lot of garbage out there that a lot of people like, not because they're good, but it's because they're consistent. Because why somebody will want to watch somebody eating dinner or somebody walking down the street? You understand what I'm saying? They're watching it because it's consistent. Because they're probably coming on every day talking about doing the same thing, and you want to see what they're going to do. They're being consistent. So I'm trying to be more consistent with my episodes and provide good content as well, and talk about some issues, talk about some things. I try to keep my pulse on the people. I love promoting, other people, just like I talked about the upcoming primary election in McKeesport, the one in Pittsburgh with Ed Gainey, Julian Thomas and Jessica Johnson and Arla Payne, who are running in McKeesport. I give support, I give love, because it's needed. We got to plug into each other. We need each other because, remember, it takes all of us. It takes a community. I know one person can change. I get that. But in order for you to change the community, it's going to take all of us. And so I care about McKeesport. I love McKeesport. I grew up there. I got my hard knocks there. And so I'm always going to defend it. I'm always going to talk about it. And when I see young people, who want to stand on principles and want to change the culture and change the condition and fight for true change in McKeesport, I'm all for it. And I think, I said before that, McKeesport residents, get off your couches, get out the bars, put down your blunts, put down your drinks, stop complaining, and go out and vote. And like Julian Thomas said, you can do absentee ballots on your phone, I believe. It's that simple now. So stop allowing people to manipulate you. Stop allowing people to lie to you, especially on the news, and they'll spin the narrative however they want to spin it because they don't want you to vote. They want you to be like, oh, man, I don't care about that. And then you have politicians doing backdoor stuff, but I'm not going to get into that. That's not the topic of the day. But I just want y'all to understand that, I support people now. I really, really do, and I care about it passionately. And guys, get out and vote, especially, man, for those three candidates. I don't know the other ones that are running, but those three, support them, man, because if you want true change, you want some people that are going to fight for McKeesport, then there you go, make it happen. Also, my niece is running for representation in Wilkinsburg for the 3rd district. She's young, she's energetic, she stands on truth, accountability, transparency. She has a vision. She wants to fight for the people of Wilkinsburg. That's what you want. You want people who are going to stand up for you and fight for you. Aren't we tired of rhetoric? We see all this stuff playing out in the White House now with Trump and him challenging the courts and challenging the Constitution and trying to, in my opinion, be a dictator. I don't care how you spin it. That's what it looks like. I call it a being, keep it a being. It looks like he wants to be a dictator, and he's challenging the court system because he's trying to knock down certain pillars so he can pave the way to do what he wants. I'm telling you, man, back to this episode, man, everybody's getting high for something. I posted on my Facebook page not too long ago. I said, sometimes we are the agent in the matrix that we're fighting. And some people commented on it. And basically what it means is sometimes you're the demon that you're fighting. Sometimes you're the one, you're fighting yourself. And if you could understand that, and sometimes it's you. Sometimes everybody's so quick to blame it on it. Well, the devil's after me today. No, sometimes it's you. It's your bad habits. It's your bad thoughts. It's your bad decisions. We never want to own our mess, but we always want to blame it on the devil. I used to tell people all the time, stop giving the devil so much power and just looking the man in the mirror or the woman in the mirror. Because, if again, like I said, if you could begin to find out what you're getting high off of, I guarantee you could begin to change some things. I guarantee you. But I know I make it sound easy. I know. Remember, they say it takes 30 days to create a habit, so it means it's going to take 30 days to undo that habit. So everybody's getting high for something. Find out what you're getting high for, and become better managers of it. Deal with it. Understand that you're going to be tested. I don't care. It's a biblical. It's a principle that you can't. There's nothing you can do about it. You're going to be tested, and I think you should want to get tested because that's the only way you're going to know if something's genuine, something's true, something's real, something's righteous. And then I talk about indoctrination, and I said indoctrination is the process of when somebody keeps telling you something over and over and over again until you accept it without protest. And that process is very effective. And not to get racial or anything like that, but as an African American in this country, our ancestors were indoctrinated with European culture, with European mindset, with European traditions, with European culture, European language. You name it. We were indoctrinated with it. In other words, they told it to us over and over again until we accepted it without protest. And so now we see the fruits of it. I've called us hybrids for years. Some people laughed at me when I said that, but I believe if you're black in this country, you're a hybrid because you're part American, but you're also part, where you came from. But guys, thank you, man, for tuning in. Thank you, Julian. Thank you, my daughter, and whoever else is watching or listening, man. Please tell people about this episode. Everybody's getting high for something. Everybody's going to get tested. Your kids need to be tested. As a parent, you need to let your kids go through tests. You do, because that's the only way you're going to know. That's the only way they're going to know. Because I think, one of the most dangerous thing a mother can do is to keep protecting her son. Won't let him go through nothing. Keep defending him. When he gets in trouble, not my son. No, let him go through it. Let him feel ashamed. Let him feel the consequences. Let him understand, because if you teach him now, you ain't got to teach him later. I made that mistake as a parent. I'm not going to get into the details, but I made that mistake as a parent, over 20-something years ago. And I'm sorry, about 20-something years ago. And I regret it ever since. But I can't go back and change time. It happened. All I could do is learn from it and grow from it and be a better father, be a better person because of it. But, it is what it is, man. We're all getting high for something. Figured out what that is. Stop looking at people getting high for drugs. Casting judgment on them when you're getting high for something yourself. It might not be as damaging. It might not be as controlling, but yet you're getting high for something. Whatever that is. Only you know that. Only you spend time with yourself, and, you know what I mean, and figure that thing out. I also posted on my Facebook page that you ever been out somewhere and you run into your old self? It's deep. I'm talking about when you change, you're a different version of yourself, but when you out in the streets, you run into your old self. It blew my mind. I've done it quite a few times, man, and it's an awakening. Because I think that's one of the biggest crimes that people make, and especially in the church, is when people walk through your church doors. Stop ostracizing them. Stop criticizing them. Stop judging them with condemnation, and start embracing them with love. Because they were once you. You understand what I'm saying? Ain't none of us perfect. We all fall short. We all gonna make mistakes. So if I walk through your church door, embrace me. Don't criticize me, but we do it all the time. And I'm not, I know it sounds like I'm beating up on the church, but remember again, unless you talk about it, unless you expose it, how can we manage it? How can we deal with it? How can we stop it? How can we eradicate it? So, man, I apologize, man, but These are just some of the things that be on my heart, and I try to, express it through these episodes and talk about it a little bit, man. But we can get better. We can do better. I strive to be a better father. I made mistakes with my children, that I wish I could take back, but I can't. But I love them. I'm proud of each and every one of them. I don't love them equally because you can't, because they all need something different from me. But I love them all, and I'm proud of all of them. And I care about all of them. My grandchildren as well. But life is crazy, man. Life is, if I'd have thought, I woke up today, and if I could look back 20, 30 years, 40 years, I guarantee you I never thought my life would be what it is today. I just never would. But, life has its own assignment. Life has its own agenda. And life's going to do what it has to do. We just got to figure this thing out. And hopefully we will. The last thing I'm going to talk about before I get out of here is I'm sick and tired. I'm tired of people saying these are the end times. I'm tired of hearing it, man. I'm tired of church folks saying it. I'm tired of hearing it. People that, man, this is the end times. This is it. Well, they've been saying that for over 2,500 years or however long it's been. And they said it, so they felt it then, and then we still feel it now. All I'm simply saying is stop saying it, and that's focus on getting better. Because whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But what we got control of is we can be better. I'm talking about as a society, as a people, as a country. We could be better. This has to happen. Well, okay, I get it. But if you know anything about the Bible, Hezekiah was supposed, King Hezekiah was supposed to die, but he asked God for 20 more years or 25 more years, and he gave it to him. So that means if he had the power to ask God to change his circumstances or his conditions so he could live longer, what do you think he would do for us if we all got together? I think we could change the narrative. I think we could change the situation. I think we could. But again, that's just my opinion. But yeah, man, it's crazy, man. I wish people stop saying that stuff, man, and let's just focus on, again, like I said, let's get better. Let's be better. Let's do better. Let's be better people, better versions of ourselves. That's have some tough discussions with ourselves and figure out, hey, you know what, I'm wrong here. Or I'm wrong there, and I need to change that. I need to fix that. I need to be better at that. I need to be a better communicator. I need to have more patience. I need to have more understanding. I need to have more love. I need to, show my love more. I need to, hug more. Whatever the case may be, just figure it out for yourself and be a better version of yourself. I know I try to. I got a long way to go, but I try. Every once in a while I run into my old self, and I don't like what I see. So, and I try to change that. But I keep welcoming the tests because that's the only way I'm going to know if I'm truly over whatever it is. And so that's what's my hope for you guys. That's my prayer for you guys. That's my declaration to you guys. Start telling people, man, we got to get better. We got to do better. I got some other episodes coming. I want to do an episode called, Why Do Mothers Love Their Sons but Raise Their Daughters? I also want to do an episode about fathers, man. I'm a father myself, and how, many fathers, we get ostracized. We get beat up publicly. We get beat up on social media. People look at fathers a lot of time as we're the second. Well, I don't need no father. That's the craziest thing in the world. A child needs a mother and a father, and they're equally important. I don't think one outdoes the other. I think they're both equally important, because I know as a man, I needed something from my mom that my dad couldn't give me, and I needed something from my dad that my mom couldn't give me. And so you need both. And so you know, that's another episode that I want to do, man. And I also, I would love to interview, Jessica, Julian, and to talk about, your platforms, to talk about what you stand for, talk about what you want to do for McKeesport, and I think more importantly, talk about the obstacles. See, a lot of times I think, before I get out of here, a lot of times politicians, I think they go in with the right spirits. They go in with the right mindset. They go in with the right, they're ready. But once they get in there, they find out there's already a political machine in place. There's already a political agenda already in place. And it's hard to fight against that because the powers that be want what they want. And you come in here talking about, no, man, we need A, B, and C. They're like, man, we ain't worried about this stuff. Them people ain't worried about it, so why are you worried about it? So I think a lot of the politicians come in with that. So I think, let's talk about the obstacles. And let's talk about solutions to how we circumvent those obstacles or tear them down and create new systems and create a better dialogue, create a better way of doing things. Remember, I said McKeesport has to die, and it does, and it is. And we have to find a way to bridge that gap. And I said, I believe Arla and Julie and Jessica are going to be those champions that are going to stand on the ashes and ready to rebuild McKeesport, reclaim it, create a new relationship with the residents and the police force and the city council and the school boards, and the school boards, or have a better relationship with the city council, and the city council have a better relationship with the school board, and the whole local government as a whole is working as one unit for McKeesport, and stop all these personal agendas, and do what's best for McKeesport, not for your career, but for McKeesport. And I think one of the issues we have a lot of times, I'm gonna use the police force as an example. If I'm a cop and I'm working with my partner and we're conducting an investigation or we're pull somebody over or something, and I see my partner getting out of line, then we need to have a signal where I can bump him and he just move out the way and I take over. But a lot of times that doesn't happen. We see wrong. We either don't do anything or we participate in it, and it only further exacerbates the problem when cooler heads should prevail. Say, hey, man, I can't allow him to keep doing this, or I can't allow her to keep doing it. Let me step in. Because I remember when I was a medic, I was a medic for some years, and me and my partner, we had a similar situation. Let's say we got to a call, and I get in there, and I do my ABCs, and I'm talking to the patient, and I'm fine. And my partner sees that I'm missing something, he would bump me. That meant he's taking over. That means he saw something that I didn't see that's crucial, and he steps in and he does what he does, and then I feed off of that. And then after the call, him and I would sit down and talk, and he said, man, you know why I bumped you? I said, no, what happened? He said, man, you missed this. Or why didn't you do this? I said, oh, wow, you're right. Thank you, bro. Instead of him sitting there letting me watch me make a mistake that could potentially kill somebody, he bumped me and stepped in the situation. So I think we need new ideas. We need fresh ideas. We need new ways of thinking to combat these issues. Last thing I'm going to say, especially when it deals with the school districts and the school, I think how we've been paying for schools through taxation, I think it's becoming antiquated. I think I think we've outgrown that. I think we got to find other ways to finance school systems, public education, whether it's through investing in the stock market or we just need to find different ways to fund public education, because the old ways of taking tax dollars and do it, I think we've outgrown it. If you look around in most of the cities, especially here in the Mon Valley, Glassport, Duquesne, McKeesport, Braddock, and all them, man, they're small. They're crumbling. The tax base is getting smaller. Corruption, crime, and the whole nine. So I just think, and that's why I think those three candidates who are running, I think they're going to represent that. I think they're going to change that. And we need that, man. So, fellow McKeesports, please, get out, register to vote, get out there for this primary. And I'm not telling, I know it sounds like I'm telling you who to vote for. I guess I am in a sense, but vote for who you want to vote for, and stop listening to the rhetoric, man. Stop allowing them to knock on your door every 2 years and 4 years and tell you the same old thing, and then once they get in office, they totally forget about you. Well, I think these candidates won't forget about you. I think they'll do what's needed. One last thing. A friend of mine, she has she's starting a business. It's called Sweet Natured. She sells oils that you put on your beard, that you put on your scalp, that you put in your hair, you put on your skin. It's all natural, all organic. She says since she's been using her product, no flakes, no dandruff, no dryness. She stands by it. She uses her own product. She swears by it. It's called Sweet Natured. She's on Facebook, and you'll see her logo of a beautiful African woman with an afro. It's called Sweet Nature. Check her out. Plug into her business. Remember, we have to start supporting one another. That's the only way Black dollars are going to stay in the communities longer. So, check her out. Hey, I'm waiting for her to drop me on something so I can start putting it on my beard, and I'll definitely let you guys know whether the product works or not, because I'm going to start using it myself. So again, the Sweet Natured products. Check her out on Facebook. I know her, young lady, proud of her. Kudos to her. She's trying something different. She's plugging into herself. She's taking a chance. She just wants to better her situation and her condition for her and her children, man. And that's always a good thing and always a plus. Other than that, man, I don't really have much else to say, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Remember, everybody's getting high for something. Remember, everybody's going to get tested. Remember that we can do better. We can be better. Reevaluate yourself. Try to be a better version of yourself. I think that's start loving each other more. You got to love yourself first, but then you start loving other people. Embrace the tests when they come. Learn from them. Grow from them. Get the lesson from them. Stop allowing people to rob you. I'm talking about not money. I'm talking about rob your spirit, rob your peace, rob your sanctuary. Stop allowing people to do that. Never be afraid to walk away from somebody. Remember, man, God didn't put you on this planet for somebody to torment you. You know what I mean? He did. Two are supposed to become one. So if somebody's tormenting you physically, spiritually, mentally, verbally, however they're doing it, walk away from them, man. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's rough. Yeah, you're going to feel pain. You're going to feel, just because you walk away from somebody doesn't mean you stop loving them. No. You may love them for the rest of your life, and that's okay. But sometimes you gotta bet on you. Sometimes you got to say, you know what, right now I'm more important. And walk away. Because you didn't know that person all your life. There was a time, a season when you didn't know him at all. So get back to that and figure that thing out, man, because you're worth it. You mean something. There's nobody else on the planet like you. You're unique. You're special. You have talents. You have gifts. You have abilities. And don't ever let anybody take that from you. No one. I don't care if it's a parent. Don't let them take it from you because you're special. You're uniquely made by him. And because of that, you have the ability to do anything, man. You really, really, really do. You just got to tap into it. You got to figure that thing out. And so that's all I really have to say, man. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. I told you a couple episodes that are coming up. I'm also always looking to interview people, man. Always. You got something to say. You got a story you want to tell. I even put my mess out there every once in a while and talk about me. I think I am going to do one seriously, to talk about my my life a little bit, being a young father at 20 and the things that I went through, the things that I tackled, I faced, and all that other stuff. I think it's a story worth telling. Also, there's another story I want to tell about me and a friend of mine. When we were young, we we saw something that I believe was not human. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't know exactly what it was. I just know it didn't have blood in it. It didn't have veins in it. It didn't have a soul or none of that. That's all I can tell you. But that's another story for another time. But I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Please tell your friends. Tell everybody. Check this episode out. Everybody's getting high for something. Everybody's going to be tested. You know what I always say, man? Be true to yourself. Be true to God. Walk with purpose. But more importantly, walk with love. This is Tiger from 106. Keep it a bean. I love y'all. I really, really do. And I need these therapy sessions. So please keep tuning in. I love y'all. This is Tiger from 106. Keep it a bean. Love you guys.